Hello and welcome to Old Oak Smokehouse. Today we're going to be going over a particular thing that I use a great deal of, and that's smoked chicken stock. Is the basis for a number of dishes in the Old Oak Smokehouse recipe book. We need to talk about a few things. At the moment, all you can see here is a saucepan on a hob being brought up to a gentle boil. There's nothing magical happened here. If you've watched a couple of the previous video clips, you'll know that we have hot smoked some chicken. The chicken, when it was allowed to cool in the smoker, thus taking on more flavour. And then we trimmed off the actual wing tips, plus the fact then we taken and discarded other pieces from those chicken wings, all of which has now gone into this stock. And as you can see now, it's just coming up to boiling, which I'm going to lower the heat now so we've got a gentle simmer, which is fine. The juices which come out of the chicken wings when they were being hot smoked is also gone in here. Once it cools, it turns into jelly. So what I'll do is I'll just pan in a little bit so we can take a closer look. I'll tell you basically what the ingredients are that's in there. It's a very simple thing. You've got the smoked chicken wings, you've got carrot, onion, celery, you've got a little bit of Old Oak smoked garlic, a few of the Old Oak peppercorns, and two smoked Old Oak bay leaves, a sprig of thyme, and a few sprigs of parsley stalks. Now, if you don't have that, don't worry. You can use a little bit of dried thyme, just a good pinch, and also likewise with your parsley. In a moment, because this has been running for just over nearly 7 hours, this has been ticking over to get the maximum flavour back out. I'm going to pass this shortly. Two things are going to happen. One is I'm going to pass it through a colander to remove all the large pieces. I'll bring the colander into shot in a moment and you'll get to see it. And then what we're going to do is the actual juice, we're going to downsize. So this size saucepan is fine for when you've got all the bits and pieces in it, and when it gets transferred out, I would imagine that half of the quantity visible there to you is probably debris, which is the little wing tips, the bones, bits of skin, the actual debris from the carrot, onion and celery. So there, we'll leave it just for a moment while I get ready now to strain this. Hello and welcome back. As you can see, location has changed slightly. What I now have is a colander sitting on top of a large saucepan, and in a moment what I'm going to do is to bring the hot stock over and place it on a trivet, which is just to the left here, and then I'm going to take a largish ladle, move this just a tad closer, okay, and then move this slightly over this way. Right, so we're almost ready to start now. Basically what I'm going to do now is to take my ladle, which is here, taking up the debris and the juice at the same time, and just ladle that into there until the total contents has been transferred from one saucepan into another, but with all the debris reserved. Okay, I'll put that on pause now, and in a moment then, when that's all been transferred, we'll come back. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. What you can now see in front of you is the debris that was actually in the actual stock itself. This has been put into a colander, and the juice has been allowed to drain down through, and it's still percolating, and I will leave that to drain for another 10 or 15 minutes. As you can see, it's still quite hot. So what we'll do now is right, hello and welcome back again. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for two reasons. One is I'd like you to take a look at the surface of this stock. As you can see, although we didn't sweat anything off, this is oil which has come out naturally from the chicken. So what we will need to do is to skim that off so that we remove. Now if I take a ladle and just swirl it round in front of you, you'll see a little skin moving, and also that shiny reflection that you're getting is the oil which is sitting on the surface of the stock. I don't really want that, so what I'm going to do in a minute is to take that away, and that is to remove it or to deglaze it of the chicken fat. There, we'll leave it for a second. Okay, hello and welcome back. What I'm about to do now is to remove some of that oil and grease which has come to the surface here. First and foremost, I spin from the middle out, which forces the fat out to the edges of the saucepan. I then put the ladle in, just tilt it at a slight angle, and as you can probably see there, it's just going in. Now take that, wipe the bottom and put that in there. Now you would repeat this, I'll show you one more time. Take a slight angle on the ladle and the oil just runs in. Now this method that we're using, you would continue until all or the required amount of fat is removed from the surface of the stock. Once you attain that, then we can go on to talk about, we need to taste it. It will need to be passed again, but this time when you pass it through a finer sieve. This will take out some of the larger particles which we no longer require. But with the stock in this stage now, I most certainly would reduce that by at least a third. So we'll leave that there just for a moment and come back when I've completely skimmed it. Okay, welcome back. As you can see now, the stock has started to reduce. We have roughly gone down about 25%. I will take this a little bit further. Period of 40 minutes or so has elapsed, and I'll probably take this up to the hour, and there we will take it to the next process. Thank you. Well, hello and welcome back. The stock is now coming up to nearly a 50% reduction, whereupon I'm going to stop it very shortly and then pass it again. This procedure will be put onto another video which people then can look at and decipher what they need out of it. And as I said before, this was strained initially through a colander, so there are some very, very big pieces in there. They will need to be removed. Okay, now welcome back. As I said before, the stock has been reduced by 50% and would need to be passed again. What I'm about to do now is to take this stock, ladle at a time, take it over and put into there. Now this will be repeated just like this until all the stock has been transferred from one saucepan into another. Okay, we will leave it there just for a second, because otherwise it just gets a little bit boring for you. Okay, hello and welcome back. The stock has now been transferred from that saucepan into a slightly smaller one, It will be brought back up to the boil and then skimmed one more time. You could, if you wanted to, continue with this reduction. But remember now, once you've got to this stage, you are intensifying the flavours. I'm actually going to taste this stock for the first time now since its inception. Don't worry about that little skin that forms on the top. It will be taken away. It's actually gelatine. Okay. Well, that definitely has the taste of smoke. There's no question about that. It's not overpowering. It's a very pleasant flavour. I can't say, of course, it's neutral. I most certainly can taste the sawdust that we used. The beech and cherry, it does most certainly come to the fore. It will need to be skimmed and then, as I say, allowed to go cold. I will transfer it, and this mixture can be frozen, same as you can freeze any stock. It can now be used in any number of dishes, the particular recipes that we have in our cookery book. Once this, as I say, comes up to the boil, I'll take it straight over, skim it, and then I'll allow it to go cold. You can intensify the flavour, this wonderful smoky flavour, by continue to reduce this down. Interestingly enough, if you was to make a sauce espagnole and then put, say, half a pint of sauce espagnole and half a pint of your smoked stock and reduce that down by half, you would then have a demi-glace. But the interesting part about it, you would have a smoked demi-glace, which would go with an array of meats. I couldn't even begin to tell you what it would go with. Most certainly it would sit very well with chicken and certain fish. It might be a little bit overpowering on certain types of fish, but for pork dishes and for beef dishes it would be absolutely superb. Okay, and there we must leave it.